Well, it must be time to review those funny books again. The cap is on. Hello everybody, Ghost Critic here with the Thursday comic book review show. I don't know about anyone else, but my comic book shop emails me on a Sunday or Monday to tell me what I've got to pick up on Wednesday. Well, when I saw the email this week, whew, oh my god, there was a lot on there. And I just thought, this is going to be a bit daunting. But you know what? Wednesday night, last night, the best time. On the sofa with a beer, reading comic books. It was a pleasure. I'm going to enjoy doing this one. There is a stack of 10 comic books. All have been pretty good, if not fabulous. Just a word of warning, there will be spoilers galore in this review. I can't help it because some big things, some big reveals happened in a lot of these issues. What I will do just for you, so I don't have to keep going spoiler, 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 down in the bottom I will put a list of all the comic books that I am reviewing this show. Next to them I will tell you whether I particularly spoil it or not. That's the best I can do. Anyway, let's get on with it. There's a lot to talk about. Let's start with the independents, and we have an issue 1 from Image, who apparently are celebrating 20 years in the comic biz this year, and they're kicking it off with style. It's Brubaker and Phillips' #1 issue of Fatale. Just look at that cover. Cover alone is worth it. What shall I say about this? Well, firstly, never read any of kind of Brubaker Phillips' past work, like, you know, Sleeper and Criminal. Yes, I Can All Hear You, Sharp Intake of Breath. What are you talking about? Why have you not read them? I don't know. The whole crime noir stuff, I'd rather watch a film of that rather than read it, if that makes sense. Maybe it's something to read in trade later on this year, but never really grabbed me. But with the addition for this, Brubaker's thrown in a bit of kind of an occult, supernatural feel with this one, so that kind of piqued my interest a little bit more. And you know, I've seen a lot of reviews, I've read a lot of reviews about this, and it was something that I definitely thought maybe. So yeah, I was in the comic book shop and it just kept staring me in the face going, buy me, and so obviously by the time I'd walked out the shop it was in the bag with the rest of them. As you would expect from, you know, Brubaker's previous work, it's very pulpy, crime noir. You've got the kind of sexy damsel in kind of distress. You've got your kind of hero character who doesn't know what the hell is going on, but is just seemed to be going along for the ride. His life is a complete mess. So yeah, it's set in the 1950s predominantly. I think this is kind of the backup to where we are in present day and how we got there. And it was a great read. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Phillips' art, the subdued dark colours that are particularly of that kind of pulpy crime noir style, very appealing. Definitely say you should pick this up if you haven't already. From Dark Horse, it's season 9 issue 5 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it's entitled Slayer Interrupted. And yes, Slayer Interrupted. She's having those Slayer dreams again, where just continual weirdness goes on to the point where, you know, at the end of one dream she's punched in the stomach, and she does actually feel it in her real life. So yeah, in her dreams there's weirdness aplenty. You've got the first Slayer in there desperately trying to tell us something, but can't quite work it out. You've got quite the mischievous fairy with the inside scoop of what the dream's all about. And it all boils down to, yes, Buffy smashing that egg to pieces and from the last season, and eradicating magic from the world. So we all know the magic was always going to come back, and this storyline certainly sets up the next storyline to come. And we've got Willow thrown in the mix. She seems to turn up in one of the dreams. Obviously, wherever there's magic involved, Willow's sure to be not far behind. And then you get that huge cliffhanger at the end. Buffy's taken a pregnancy test. Buffy's pregnant! Who's your daddy? Very good. It's been treading water the last kind of 4 issues. So this kicking off with the whole magic coming back to Earth storyline, definitely an interesting concept. From Vertigo we have the UnWritten issue 33, and we're back onto the main storyline, and Tom Taylor is taking it to the Dark Cabal. He's had enough waiting around. He has all the power. He's, you know, been jacked up with, you know, everyone's believing in him, recanting passages, basically praying for Tom Taylor. And he does go all adult Harry Potter, throwing spells here, there and everywhere. Fantastic read. You know, you look at it and it all seems just like it's going a bit too easy, and of course it was a little bit too easy. The Dark Cabal have got a little trick under their sleeve too, which they pull out the bag. And it's just, again, the ideas and concepts Carey writes in this is just fantastic. The idea that words are power, that your faith in something is power. It powers something to be something greater than it already is. Just a great read. I don't know where they're going to take this, or if this is that kind of final story arc. But after this, who knows where Carey will take this. Very good. I always recommend this, and I'm recommending it again this week. On to DC, we've got a few issue 5s to chat about. The first being Batman and Robin. And Robin has finally taken that step into the darker side. We all know he's pretty dark to begin with. But yet he's teamed up with the nobody villain that's been thrown in the mix over the last few issues. And he's had enough of Bruce, Batman telling him what to do, telling him to stay put, basically ordering him about like a father should do his son. So, yes, we get a long backstory about Ducar and raising his son, and the whole Bruce and Ducar meeting up and training, and basically Bruce being his apprentice to Ducar's mentor. I'm actually a bit more on board on this than I have been in the past. The last 2 issues have really kind of finally kick-started and got me interested in this title. The first 3 issues were a bit, I'm on the edge, it's just entertaining enough for me to keep it, to see where this is going. But now, you know, I'm really on board with this. I hope it goes places of excitement, which I'm sure it will. One title that is, again, on the cusp. It's still an entertaining and, you know, fun read, but there's just something missing, and that's within a Green Lantern. Whether it's the whole Sinestro-centric storyline that I'm just not buying, or if it's just Jeff Johns not being particularly involved. He doesn't seem to be very involved in this story. I think he's spending way too much time trying to make Aquaman cool again. That he's forgotten, you know, about Green Lantern. And I mean, there are some nice moments in here. We've got the whole, you know, the interchange, the relationship between, you know, Hal and Sinestro, which is always fun to watch and listen to. The tricks and the thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead of Sinestro, after giving all these ring constructs to the inhabitants of Corridor. He's obviously made sure that these rings can't possibly harm him. And they basically take down all the all the yellow ring inhabitants that have taken over Corridor, and leaves behind the people of Corridor to live their lives again. He's very apologetic in kind of a Sinestro apology type way. And then obviously the allied with Hal has come to an end, so he doesn't really need him anymore, so he throws him back home. But Hal's like, you promised me a ring if I helped you out here. And I said, well, you've got a ring. But obviously Hal needs a lantern to power the ring up, which Sinestro didn't say was in the deal. So, you know, if you do make a deal with the devil, you know, read the small print. So again, it's the whole Sinestro-centric storyline that I'm not 100% on board with. I do want to see more of Hal, especially getting his ring back. There's a little inkling of what's to come at the end with the Guardians again, and this first lantern. Who is this first lantern, and what possible effects could it create in future storylines? So yeah, interesting, but not grasping. Finally, on the DC line, we've got Batwoman #5, and this wraps up the current storyline with our sea ghost villainess type character. And Kate Kane does a bit of meditation and free word association to figure out how to defeat this enemy, and eventually, you know, fire apparently does the trick. Could have come to that conclusion a little bit earlier, I thought. But it wasn't so much about beating the villain for Kate on this. It was more facing her own demons and accepting, you know, she wasn't to blame for her sister's supposed demise. And, you know, she basically forgives herself and turns around to the apparition of her sister and say, look, I'm not to blame, I'm not going to feel guilty about this anymore, and obviously makes her a stronger person, and enables her to defeat our ghostly villainess. So yeah, that's the first half of the story. The second half, if you remember, our supernatural agency knows Batwoman is Kate Kane, sorry, and turns up at her house. And it's another of those deal with the devils. To keep Daddy Dearest out of prison, she has to go work for them, which she obviously reluctantly does. But maybe working from the inside will have its benefits in bringing down this strange kind of supernatural government agency. Batman obviously isn't very happy about that. He knows their paths are going to cross because their agendas are going to collide at some point. She knows that, but, you know, she'll make the right decision when the time comes. Great night, a really nice, great ending to this fantastic start to Batwoman. The artwork, as always, the panelling, the textures in this are just a joy to look at. It's a joy to read. Definitely be picking this title up. And so we turn to Marvel finally. We start with issue 6. It's Ultimate Comics X-Men, and this really has kicked into gear, really. We have the final smackdown between William Stryker and these Nimrod Sentinels. So yes, with his kind of dying breath, and this uploading of Cerebro or Cerebra to all these Nimrods, so they now know where all the mutants are. These Nimrod Sentinels are out for blood and are going to kill anything with a mutant gene. So it's explosions, fight scenes aplenty, and these young mutants, the only thing they can really do is escape and run for their lives. We keep flipping back to Rogue before she met up with our on-the-run heroes, the X-Club. And yes, a lovely, nice little twist at the end. Rogue has been going on and on about this word of God that has been guiding her throughout. Who was it? Well, it's only the daddy of all X-Men, Charles Xavier. Told you it was a big spoiler show this week. Yeah, that last page, Charles, Professor X, he's back. I love this title. It's had some weird kind of avenues it's gone down. I'm still not totally sold on the mutants not just being a natural evolution of humans, and this is more an experimentation done by the government. Not buying that. I'm really not, and I'm not liking it that much. But I'm sure Nick Spencer has got some tricks and some interesting twists up his sleeve still to come. I do actually like this title. The Amazing Spider-Man, issue 677, and I bet quite a few out of there didn't like this. We have got Mark Waid writing it, because this is a crossover with Daredevil. The second part of it will be in Daredevil issue 8 next week. And a drastic change of artists. We've got, I think it's Emily Rios. It is a very indie style, artistically looking book now. Gone are the kind of very bright, thick, clean, over the top looking kind of characters like you see on the front from Ramos and Delgado. This has a very scratchy, messy, indie feel. If you were the first to come to this book, you probably won't recognise a lot of the characters. They don't look as they normally would. Personally, I thought it was refreshing to see a new and very different take on the appearances. Story, of course, it's Black Cat. She's been framed for a robbery that she may not have actually committed. Again, Waid, you know, he still picks up on, you know, Slott's nice set of humour that has been ongoing throughout the Spidey title lately. And Spidey obviously runs across Black Cat on his way when he's been all miserable and sad because all he's seen around him is, you know, people in couples and kissing and getting on with each other, and obviously he's just been dumped. So yeah, him wanting Black Cat to be a kind of rebound girlfriend, let's get our thing on, doesn't quite go to plan for him. I don't really think this is going to affect much, given that it's only a two-part story. As said, the second part is the crossover with Daredevil next issue, so it might feel a bit, well, what's really the point? Could this storyline not have happened just in Daredevil, or not just have happened in Spider-Man and just had, you know, a guest appearance from either Spider-Man or Daredevil, depending on what comic book you were reading? Still, for me, it was fun. Definitely a big departure from what we're used to. Issue 4 of The Incredible Hulk. And finally, the Hulk and Banner meet up. And again, change of artist. No more Silver Stary. We've now got Bordaccio and Martinez on art. Still very much of the Silver Stary school of art. But my God, you know, they've really made Banner look kind of like completely mad and deranged now. Whether this is just an evolution of him continually using the gamma juice on himself is yet to be seen, but he's certainly a lot more unhinged than we've seen him in the last 3 issues. And this plays around with the whole, who really was the monster? Was it actually the Hulk? Was it actually Banner? Who is the puny? Who has got the intelligence? Who has the humanity? Really, really enjoying it. I don't know, because this is the first time I've ever collected Hulk, so this whole splitting them apart for good, I don't know if we already know who's done this, but it's leading up to, at least in this title, showing us who has actually pull them apart. So yeah, great time with it, great book. And finally, it's issue 4 of Wolverine and the X-Men, and just as the cover is fun, chaotic, exciting, bright and bold, so was the inside. I love this comic. It's nice to see Aaron do his whole kind of humorous, more light-hearted kind of book than we're used to him doing. A lot packed in here. The whole school environment is just fun to watch and read through. We get some interesting looks to the future at what possibly might happen to them, given to us by Deathlock. We have some obviously new inductions into the school, one being Genesis, the Apocalypse clone, as a boy, and also Warren eventually becomes a new character, not a new character, a new pupil for the school. Not quite sure whether I like the way that's going with the whole he doesn't know who he is, he doesn't know who anyone else is. I think we're being slightly hit on the head with the whole Wolverine by day is the good guy, kind of head teacher, role model, and by night he's still obviously Mr. X-Force, blood and guts. We kind of did get hit over the head with that. There are some very interesting, you know, points that are going to be brought up. Can Wolverine possibly keep this school together? Can he possibly keep Genesis from going down a dark path? Has he done the right thing inducting Warren into the school? Is it gonna pay off and get Warren's memory back? Who knows, but I'm certainly along for the ride. Love this. And with that, finally, it's over for another week. If this is your first time watching me, hello, I'm Ghost Critic. I do this every week. So hit the subscribe button up there, so you or up there, wherever it turns up at, so you don't miss out. Down there somewhere there's a thumbs up. I like lots of thumbs up. And there's, of course, there's the comment box. Write whatever you want in there, as long as it pertains obviously to this video. What did you like? What didn't you like? Did you pick up any of my titles? What did you think of them? And I think that about wraps it up. Oh, and by the way, I knew this was going to happen. They're cancelling OMAC.